Hello, everyone. My name is Jeffery McGonigle with Power Real Estate Group, Sidekick, and now RECC. Today, we're going to be talking about how to scale with virtual assistants. A little background. We own a brokerage called Power Real Estate Group in Southern California. We were able to go from 6 agents to well over, at one point, over 250 agents. We sit right around 140 agents, and we consistently are selling over 500 homes. The fantastic thing and the remarkable thing, we're only doing that with 4 people that work here in the United States. So today, I want to take some time to actually walk you through what we do and how we do it, all with utilizing virtual assistants. So without further ado, let's jump on in. Sorry about that. Virtual assistants. What is a virtual assistant and why? Well, they're going to make sure they're going to boost efficiency and support the growth. Growth is difficult. And without a virtual assistant, your costs are going to be extremely high. And one of the factors that we found was virtual assistants actually are able to help us structure our business better, right? Because then we get to spend those funds on other things to help build the foundation. See, our VAs enabled streamlining operations, reduce overhead, and ensure focus on high priority tasks across the team. Strategic VA structure. Starting with an inside sales agent. Maria, which was our very first virtual assistant, an ISA, and we've launched Sidekick with, and actually a partner in our company, actually was our very first virtual assistant. With her help and her guidance and feedback going back and forth, we've been able to continuously expand not only Power Real Estate Group, but our Sidekick virtual assistant service to be able to help not only Power Real Estate Group, but other teams, which on average this year, we're looking to close almost 3,000 transactions. So our journey, like I mentioned, your initial hire. Our initial hire was an ISA. What is an ISA? An ISA's job is an inside sales agent, and they're going to engage leads, qualify them, and ensure they get timely follow-up boss within FUB or whatever CRM you're using. This is going to allow you and other agents to focus on the committed clients. In my previous video, we talked about a operation and working an 8-hour schedule of 3-2-1, right? And 3 hours of prospecting, 2 hours of following up, 1 hour of actually learning something should generate 2 hours of face-to-face time with a client. With Maria, me and Diego were able to spend not just 3 hours of prospecting, but we were able to shift our time to have more time from 2 hours to 4 hours being able to work with and see clients face-to-face. With that extra revenue, we were able to continue to expand because more you close, more money, more problems, right? But overall, we were able to create more solutions. After that, you're going to want to expand with a pipeline manager. Diego's going to talk about how pipeline managers work a little bit later when we introduce him and what their responsibilities are. And I could just jump in. They're going to manage the leads and the progression of those leads. They're going to ensure that follow-up is happening appropriately and transfer those leads to the correct agents, loan officers, or whatever the needs of the client may be. After that, you're going to be wanting to add an overall executive assistant, and their job scope, oversee the company, not just the company, but the company-wide operations. They're going to manage the schedules for the leadership, coordinating high-level communication, monitor projects, timelines, and ensure alignment with objections. So you and your executive assistant are going to be able to sit down and actually start to plan out not only today, tomorrow, but next month and what the next 6 months should look like, not only for you, but also for your team. As you grow, the more support you will need. And then they can also take that information and deliver that to the other virtual assistants as your organization grows. And then number 4, assigning an admin executive assistant. And this is really where we're at. This person supports each admin by managing schedules, preparing reports, organizing correspondence, and handling project-related tasks. At this point at Power Real Estate Group and Sidekick and a lot of the other companies that we've developed over the years, we have multiple virtual assistants and multiple EAs that oversee the entire operations. Maria is going to be our admin executive assistant. Maria is going to oversee everything from every company and every department and be able to give us the information that we need to make decisive money-making activities and decisions on. So overall, getting a VA is going to save up a lot of your time. But what do? Why should you get a VA? And should the first step be? Before you get a virtual assistant, do not hire a virtual assistant until you've actually built out your SOPs. Your VA training and accountability process is crucial. For us, we take pride in making sure that we are over communicating and giving our virtual assistants the best platform and stepping stone to be successful. We utilize Scribe. It's basically a program where you go in and your computer screen and you follow every step by step what you do. We also utilize programs such as ChatGPT to be able to talk into ChatGPT and say, hey, I'm looking to be able to do this, and this. And ChatGPT helps us create SOPs. Once we have that together, we have a written documentation, and then we have a visual step-by-step with pictures. We also record a video, and then we give it to our virtual assistant for them to learn how to do it. And from there, we have them show us that they are competent in being able to do it. And then the final step, we have to be reminded more than we're taught. It is crucial. It is super, super crucial to make sure that you're doing regular check-ins to make sure that they're still doing the job correctly. And not only that, a lot of times it's not that the virtual assistant isn't doing it correctly. It's that something in the real estate or something in the business has changed and there might need to be a tweak. So checking in to make sure they are still understanding what needs to happen and the steps still need to flow in that order is going to be crucial as well. So VA recruiting and onboarding. Once you've built out your SOPs, VA recruiting and onboarding is super important. Sourcing your VAs. VA recruiting from the Philippines and Mexico has helped us a ton, right? Why? Because we're in Southern California. So it's imperative for us to have virtual assistants that not only speak English well, but also have strong Spanish speaking skills. And then also a lot of the ones that are from the Philippines have been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years, and their admin skills are through the roof. I've learned so much from my virtual assistants that shout out to University of Central Florida, but my VAs taught me a lot as well. Initial training with Diego at our office and on our team, and then also for Sidekick. When it comes to the ISA training, Diego has 5 years of wholesale flipping, cold calling, and then he's also worked all of our lead platforms such as Zillow, Clever, Realtor.com, all of our lead sources. So he's able to detail the training and the prospecting activities that the virtual assistants will need to be able to master. And only once they've mastered those steps and been able to perform proficiently, then we will endorse and send it over to a client. And when we send those over to clients, it is the client's responsibility. And at that point, let's just say I'm the client, I get a choice of 2 or 3 of them, and I get to listen to their calls. We use software such as Shiloh to be able to say, hey, look at a few calls that they've had. Here's where they're grading and see how they've been doing before I have to even select one. Tools and accountability. Like we mentioned earlier, it's not enough to just create an SOP. It's not enough to just show them what to do and then train them. You still have to hold them accountable, right? We are still running a business. This tool right here, Hubstaff, is what we personally use at Power Real Estate Group and at Sidekick to monitor the virtual assistants, having them clock in early or not clock in to see what time they're coming in, what time they're checking out, what are the activities, are they working on the projects that we assign them to? Just like anybody else at any other job across the country, there has to be a level of accountability and also measuring the performance, making sure that the performance that we both agree to and the trainings that we have developed, that they're able to perform on those. If there is a drop in performance, we can then go back into Hubstaff and say, hey, are they following the steps that we provided? If so, maybe there's a problem with us in our process. Sometimes it's like, hey, that person is not moving up to the speed, and then we can have a conversation and take corrective matters after that. So overall, we utilize virtual assistants in every aspect of our business, from supporting our agents to supporting our database with ISAs and supporting us as admins and our transaction coordination team. We're going to pivot over to Diego, and Diego is going to walk you through the day in the life of a virtual assistant. Go ahead, Diego.
going, everyone? My name is Diego. I'm one of the partners here at Sidekick. I actually handle a lot of the recruiting, a lot of the training, and developing of the ISAs here. With that being said, everything starts with marketing and recruiting the ISAs. There, we are, like Jeff mentioned, right? We get a lot of great people from the Philippines, Mexico, South America, and pretty much all over the place there, right? So everything starts with recruiting. We do a lot of recruiting on different platforms. We also do our own recruiting as far as Google AdWords, Google PPC and things like that, or Facebook, or any marketing that we could do to recruit as many ISAs as we can there. But we are targeting the Philippines, which we get a lot of great people that are great at admin, cold calling. A lot of these people in the Philippines have already experienced working as a virtual assistants there, so that definitely helps us out a lot. We're also targeting people from Mexico. Once again, we are in Southern California, right? So most people in Southern California either speak Spanish or some type of Hispanic language there, right? And we also targeting South America as well too. So we're targeting people all over the countries there to recruit and bring on and develop and train and make them as better as great as we can there. But everything starts with recruiting there. We're also tracking who's in training, everybody that we got currently in training, everybody that's graduating from our courses and things like that. We also have some admins, kind of going on from there. But we also do some tracking, kind of see where they're at and if they're actually getting better throughout the courses and things like that.
Diego, can you show us what our training looks like?
Yeah, so before they actually go with the client or actually come on board with us, they have to finish this course, which we have on Trainio here. Did you guys see my screen?
I didn't have a good experience when I tried it, so.
Yeah, and that's what we didn't, when we, for our very first, so our first hit at it, it didn't work too well. But then when we got Maria, she kind of took the lead in helping us find virtual assistants, and we found one and we were like, hey, do you have any friends? And from there, that's how we really started to grow. And then a lot of the processes and things that he's going to go over right now deals with making sure that we knew what our standards were, and we wanted to build that from step by step throughout that. When you got your, where did you get yours from?
It was from the Philippines. The first try, the second try was Mexico.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll show you what we're doing.
If I can interrupt you, you're hiring him directly versus using a service then to do it.
Yes. Yeah, we're bringing him directly in. And then he's going to go over our vetting process and then the training process. And yeah, like I said, right now, a lot of the people that we're working with, I think we're going to get close to, I know we're going to surpass over 2,000 transactions this year that we've been able to help people close because of our virtual assistant. So go ahead, Diego.
Yeah, so sorry, I wasn't sharing my screen there, but yes, we do reach out to them directly there. We're not using any other service or anything like that, and we're vetting them out as far as, when they do their interview with us, they have to send us a video, and, pretty much we're critiquing the video, whoever, we like and stuff like that. We'll call them back in for a second interview and kind of go on from there. But as I mentioned, we are marketing in the Philippines there, Mexico as well, and South America. Once they come in, once they start training with us here, we're pretty much tracking them, kind of what level they're at, how far along they are in the trainings, who's graduated, what day they graduated and things like that, what they graduated from and things like that. And we also have the admin department. So before, once they get them recruited, they send in their videos. Once we like their videos, we pretty much bring them to onboarding. And at the onboarding, we give them with the trainio, which they'll start training through here, right? They have up to 2 weeks to finish the trainio here. Some people are finishing it within 1 week, but we're giving them up to 2 weeks. Anybody that can't finish it within 2 weeks, it might not be a good fit for us there, right? So we want to make sure they're fully aware of how the systems work, what scripts we're using and things like that there. So this is a little bit of our trainio here. It kind of goes with the organization chart, who's in our team, who's the owners here, who are they going to be talking to and things like that. What is the university about? End of day reports, we kind of show them how to send out reports so they can start practicing when they do go to clients. They already know how to send their end of day reports to them and showing them what they did throughout their day or anything they accomplished throughout that day there. And then it goes into the basics, right? What is an ISA? The skills that an ISA should have. The usual workload that they'll get, some examples and things like that. There's some terminologies. We go over terms as far as what's a 1031 exchange, what is HOA, what is FHA loan, conventional loan. So we go over all those terms here as far as with the sellers, buyers, same thing, right? What is inspection contingency, things like that. So those are all terms as far as real estate related terms. And then it'll go into the basics of Follow-Up Boss, right? It goes into the whole overview, how Follow-Up Boss works, what it's used for, and things like that. Then understanding the sources, right? So each source has its own different script or different, campaigns that we're going to be using there. So we want to make sure they understand which sources we're using, where they're coming from, and how we're going to start marketing to them there. Next is going to be the ponds, right? So we work a lot off of ponds. So there's different types of ponds and different ways how we work those, and it kind of shows them how do we work those, where they're at, how to make ponds, and things like that. And then claiming the lead, right? We also have round robin, first to claim. We're sending stuff out to the Slack channel and things like that. So that kind of explains to them how to send out leads to agents, how to claim a lead, and things like that.
And then,
moving on.
yeah, not to cut you, but like looking into this situation, like, so Chuck, we try to, our virtual assistants leave knowing more about Follow-Up Boss than I do, right? Because they have to take the videos. They literally have to be able to go in here and set up different automations. They have to go in here and be, hey, here's a mock lead, add the tags. Hey, a zap came in. What do you need to do? So all of these things, and that's why when we said it has to be done in 2 weeks, we want to make sure that the will is there as well. Like they can actually prioritize mastering all of these, because just like anything else, everyone's like, yeah, I could do it. No, we want to see it, right? So they all have a test and they all have a flow all the way through. Can you skim through, Diego, and go, what other categories are we going through?
This is all Follow-Up Boss basics. As you can see, we go through everything, stages, appointments, pretty much anything that has to do with Follow-Up Boss, how we move the leads and things like that, notes, text templates and all that. And then they'll go to the knowledge check, right? It'll give them a knowledge check. This is when they have to actually show us what they learned and Follow-Up Boss. They take a little quiz, things like that. Then they'll move on to the scripts, right? Once we know the system, we know how to work the system, how do the leads go, how they flow and things like that. Now we want to know how to talk to these people, right? So we do have the scripts in here. We have a few videos in there as far as me explaining the scripts that we use for buyers and explaining the scripts that we use for sellers. They also must role play with us and be able to do a pretty good job there after their first week that they've been studying the script there. And then it moves on to Real Scouts, right? Showing how to add a lead on Real Scouts, managing contacts in their inboxes, auto nurture, and things like that. And then moving on.
So we also have a built-in portion because we used to have YLOPO. So we have they whatever systems and trainings that we have, like it's just going and taking it out. And let's just say, Chuck, you use YLOPO. They would have to go through a YLOPO training to be onboarded and get ready for that.
Yep.
Cool.
Exactly. Yep. And then lastly, our communication channels, right? How are we going to be communicating? Any questions they have, anything like that? Or are they going to be communicating with the clients? It'll be pretty much through Slack. So it kind of just shows them how to communicate through Slack, the notifications, applications, huddles, and things like that. And after they finish the whole course, they would have to book a call with me, and we pretty much go through all their everything that they went through. They have to actually show me what they learned, and things like that. And we also go over their Shiloh calls out our one-on-one there, which we're using Shiloh to track all their calls. And I'll show you an example right now as we're going there. But this is the first training that they have to do. They have to finish this within 2 weeks, and this is at their own pace, right? Some people finish it within 1 week. Some people finish it before those 2 weeks. But if they take more than 2 weeks, it probably might not be a good fit for us there. And then and not just that, but they also have to join my training, which is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, regardless if they graduated or not, if they go with another client, they can still come and join my classes every week there, which I do them Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 11 to 1 p.m., which Tuesdays we go over role play, we go over scripts, kind of learning the scripts, role playing together, and see where they could work on there. Wednesdays, we're critiquing calls. We're going over their calls through Shiloh, making sure, how they could improve there. We're looking at their low scores on Shiloh, how we could, critique those and, they could improve on their calls there, and also going over the ALM stuff. Thursdays is more software training, right? It's more like Follow-Up Boss, Real Scouts, since we used to use YLOPO, any software that we're using, at our office or any client that they're using, we kind of go over all of those, right? Call tools, Mojo, any questions that they have there, we're pretty much doing all the trainings on that. And obviously going over the terms there.
And we have clients that are using like Chase with Agent Fire. We have even for our TC trainings, right? A lot of these different trainings. So on Thursdays, let's say you hire a virtual assistant. We understood that just hiring someone when there's a problem, we try to continuously help them solve the solution, right? We know someone in the industry who they can go to be able to help them solve that, have that solution solved for them.
Yep, exactly. So once they finished all the training, they've gone through my training, 2-week training. They finished the trainio. They pretty much passed my one-on-one, the final, and then they would pretty much graduate from there. Once they graduated, and we send them out to clients, we actually give the clients a few options here, right? So if you can check out my portfolio here, this is something that we would send out to clients with a few potential ISAs that they could pick from, right? So as you can see, here's an example. We'll send them like 5 clients. Tell them what language they speak and things like that. And they can click on any of the ISAs that they would like to there. And once they click on it, it'll show pretty much everything about that ISA there, right? So it starts from here, starts with their video. As you can see, here's an example.
Can't hear it, but
Oh yeah, but that's an example there. And then it kind of shows their Shiloh score, their overall overview, what they've done and things like that. You could also listen to some of the calls that we put on here. And it'll take you to their call so you can listen to it, pretty much see if that's a good fit for you, if you like that ISA. And then it'll have their certificate that they graduated from that class. Also, if you click on that PDF, it'll take you to its actual certificate. Pretty much on everything that they went through, right? The introduction, follow up boss basics, Slack, ISA scripts, and things like that. It'll show you exactly what they went through and what they graduated from there. And then lastly, it'll pretty much give you a whole overview of all the videos that they watched, all the things that they went through and things like that. So that's after we have trained them. They passed the courses, they did the one-on-one with me, they did great. Then we'll send them out to the client so they can check them out and see if they'll be a good fit for them there.
Yeah, we're big on documenting the process so that you're comfortable, or you should document the process. That way they know what they know, right? And then you can hold them accountable to the things that they went through, but also you are able to go in and make tweaks. Like things in real estate and things in business consistently change, right? So if you get a new CRM, you get something else. It's just really duplicating the process and saying, all right, cool, we're not going to use this CRM. We're going to use this software. You can then use that same training module to retrain them to say, hey, let's work on building this out and learning it together. And that's what's consistently helped us.
Yep.
Cool.
And pretty much, like I said, we're using Shiloh and things like that there. And then pretty much an ISA, where ISAs that work for us, they already have a list assigned to them there, which we always recommend to clients as well too, to build out lists, things like that. We have lists 1 through 25. Those lists never move. It's always lists 1 through 25. But since we have a few ISAs, everybody knows what list they're assigned to, right? ISA 1 might be assigned through list 1 through 6. ISA 2 might be assigned list 7 through 10. And so on, right? But it goes all the way down to 25 there. And that's our ISAs that are in our database, calling, setting appointments and things like that there. So we already have those set up automatically, where all they have to do is come in and, pretty much hit the list that they're assigned to there. Same thing with their pipeline managers. They already have lists assigned to them, which is lists 1 through 5. And they're always going to be those same lists, and they know exactly what to do and things like that. As you can see, they already have their rules and what they need to do for each section, for each stage that they're in, if they need to move it, remove it, and things like that, right? And we also have their metrics for them, right? They have to at least hit 160 calls per day or more if they're working at an 8-hour day. Mojo, same thing. It goes a little bit higher. Call tools, it goes a little bit higher since they're on a 10-line dialer. But these are the metrics that they need to hit, every single week or every single day, as they're working with us there. And our pipeline managers are holding them accountable, making sure they are making the calls. If they see that their calls are lower, they'll reach out to them and see what's going on and things like that there.
And cool. Appreciate that, Diego. Chuck, in your system, when you did have a virtual assistant, what was your process like?
Excuse me. It was just getting them to make phone calls. It was not a good system. I'm going to admit it wasn't a good system. It was something I, talked with people and I thought, okay, I'm going to give this a try. It was building the systems was tough, but it was kind of fairly new when I got into Follow Up Boss. I was also trying to learn Follow Up Boss at the same time as trying to get this ISA to do it. So it's just,
and we've hired companies before we started, we tried like 1 or 2, and most companies, they don't do any of this training. They'll just get a VA hired for you and here you go. And that's pretty much it there. Us, we literally treat the ISAs like we treat the agents here, right? You have to go to the training, you got to role play, you got to hold yourself accountable, you got to make these amount of calls. If you're not making these amount of calls, like what's going on, things, and things like that, right? We hold them accountable, we train them, we treat them exactly like the agents, and pretty much going that route. And most companies don't do that. They'll just find an ISA for you. Here you go. They're going to work for you, and that's pretty much it from there.
Yeah, man. So yes, that's like we learned the hard way as well. It's just document, practice. That's why I'm not sure when you hopped on, but I was talking about making sure you are writing it down, you have it on Scribe, and then you have a video of how to do it, and then you test them, and then quarterly you go back in, or monthly you go back in and you just double check, say, hey, are we still operating correctly? So, did you ever have an admin, someone who actually helped you on your day-to-day?
No, not really.
All right, cool.
I'm trying that right now, but it's been tough.
Well, I have Ruben on here. Ruben is actually our office manager, and he oversees all 3 of our locations. And he has been able to free up so much of his time with the different bottlenecks that come with the business. So what Ruben's been able to do, he's going to show you right now. He's going to show you the day in the life of what his admin looks like, but also going to finish this off with showing us what the accountability and how we utilize accountability tools such as HubStaff. Go ahead, Ruben.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Chuck, it's a pleasure to meet you. Yeah, so obviously over here, we're kind of a high volume team, right? So we have about 140 agents. Sometimes we can get even higher than that, just kind of depending on the season. But like Jeff was mentioning, right, like having everything written down, like even for you, right, Chuck, like it is kind of difficult, like when you're running your business, having to slow down and teach someone how to help you. Like that's, I feel like one of the biggest like difficulties about hiring someone to help you is you have to teach them how to help you, but you don't have time for that because it's like you need help to go faster, right? So I think that's one of the hardest things. And I mean, there really is no shortcut around that, honestly, Chuck. I mean, you just kind of have to like grit your teeth and just get through it, right? And actually do it because you set a solid foundation for your assistant, whoever you bring on, and then they can start elevating you, right? So, for example, with me here, with onboarding, at some point we were onboarding 15 to 20 people a month, and it was just me. I was getting stretched really thin, plus my regular work. So, with having my administrative assistant come in, obviously they go through that training, they learn the system. So I'm already at like at an advantage there because I don't have to teach her how to navigate things, right? I can just start plugging in what I need her to do. One of the biggest things for me is showing a layout of what it is that my workflow is, right? So however your workflow is, I kind of think of it as like a bucket of toys, right? Like if you want to organize a bucket of toys, you have to dump it out first, right? You have to get it out on the floor and then see everything and then start moving it around. So I started off first with a flow chart here. And so this is like a super high level view of it. Now, obviously it's kind of crazy because I've, added, subtracted, all this stuff, but I essentially just mapped out what my process is from top to bottom. Everything, just fully, like completely honest, and even things that I wanted to run away from, I had to put them on here. So one, I can visualize it and it's no longer living in my head. And then I can put it here and then I can start working on, cool, let me teach my VA the process. So that way she can start taking it and be like, cool, we can do this better. We can do this better. Or, hey, this one's
first, Ruben, you mapped it out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And like you said, sometimes you have to dump the toys on the floor. And sometimes you're like, man, I can't even believe I used to play with that. Right. Yeah. So like, I'm trying to get rid of that in my process to be able to go. What was the next thing after mapping it out? What did you do next?
So after mapping it out, I kind of realized, all right, cool. Well, what are each steps and how do you do it? Right. So Jeff also mentioned having videos, right? So I have videos here in the landing page of all of my steps, right? So that way, one, I don't have to sit in a 2-hour long meeting every day teaching her. I can just sit down at my own pace and go through different portions. So I can say, cool, if we're doing updating our roster, which is one of the steps in here, then great. Let me just go in there and do a quick 4-minute video of me doing it, giving an explanation. Now I'm going to save it. So that when the VA comes on, here's the video. So when in the future, I don't have to sit down with you, but also if you have a question about it again, you forget about it. Cause like Jeff said, you have to be reminded more than you're taught. There's a video again and again and again. So I have videos of my entire process written down here and she has access to this, right? So she can come in here and see this at any time. And then outside of that, I also want to have it in writing too. And so I have basically all of my SOPs written in here in Google Docs. And Chuck, I want to tell you this, right? So when I started with my SOPs, I had it all on one big Google Doc, and it was like a 23-page thing. And it worked. I kind of had an outline here on the left. But now having my VA on, I took her through the SOPs line by line, and she's helped me organize it even better. So what you see here with these outlines and individual documents, she's been able to see it, read it. She now updates it herself, and she helps me keep it even more organized. So I laid the foundation, but now she's taking it and elevating it for me. So now here I've got my videos, I've got my flow chart so we can visualize it, and I've also got the nitty gritty. So, for something specific, an agent is not part of an association of realtors. What's the step with that? For onboarding, the main process is here, right? If we're going to set up their systems, etc. So I've got the entire SOP written out here. I've got our videos, all of that good stuff. And then honestly, from here, once she has the basis of your workflow, she's got videos, she can visualize everything. We've kind of almost hit everything, right? The eyes, ears, and the eyes again with reading, right? We've kind of done all this, the ways people learn, right? The visual learners, some people read, some people need to hear it. So we've kind of hit that with all three of these things. And honestly, after that, it's just kind of being like, when I brought my VA on, I gave her the videos, I gave her my SOPs. And once she reviewed everything, I said, great, I want you to do the most basic time-consuming task, which is running audits for us. I need you to go through and audit all of these things. And I told her, it's going to be like pulling teeth, but I need you to understand what it is that we're looking for, so that way you can understand why we build certain systems. And it's like same with you, right, Chuck? Like there's a lot of reasons that you build things, but you got to show them why. What is underneath the rug, right? Sometimes I like to use the metaphor of like, if you have a roach infestation, you have to rip up the carpet and see the entire colony, even though we don't want to see it, you have to, right? So in this case, it's the same thing. I have to really rip up the carpet and be like, all right, there it is. Running audits is the absolute worst task in our office. It's horrendous, but it is the most important thing so we can stay efficient, stay lean. So I had her do that, watch the videos, report back to me what she learned. And then it's like, great, now let's start building on top of that. So then with that, I can focus on what I do best, which is automating workflows, right? So once I had everything written out, then I can start automating this entire process. So now I can start building with her and saying, great, what are the parts that we can automate, and what are the parts that I need a human there so that way it can be monitored. So now my VA she runs this entire process here, and now we're at a point where we're just adding, removing, simplifying, whatever, and it's now just fully automated. And so obviously I'm not going to go into too much detail on the automations, just because that's a whole different thing. But everything's basically automated through follow-up laws. So I have an onboarding test client here, and essentially what will happen is, once we have a recruit who's onboarding, we basically have a stage when it changes to recruiting met. It basically kicks off a series of emails. One, it's going to email my VA this SOP. It's going to send her an email and say, hey, this person was just recruited. Please call them and walk them through the application process, which we have an SOP here, the application walkthrough. So instantly, when somebody's recruiting someone, at this point, I'm not even involved, and neither is the VA, the agent, or whoever the recruit is. They're initiating this process through phone. The email's going out to my VA with the SOP, and I'm kind of giving it a little time so that way the automations can kick off. But essentially, the SOP is going to be emailed to her, and it'll say, hey, this person just got onboarded. Go check it out. Run this automation. So here, I just pulled it up here. Let me pull it over. So you can see this email here just came out 0 minutes ago, and it says, hey, Lee, please call this recruit and execute our application SOP walkthrough attached below. It's got their first name, phone number, email, and it's got the link to the Google Doc, or it's attached just flat out. So at this point, we don't really need to be involved with the recruiting process. It's just, boom, we're notified.
And this is just, just to keep respect of time, this is not just for recruiting. Like I mentioned earlier, we've been able to scale with having 4 people that are US based. be
Right.
able to 3 different, like, it's massive because we study and look at each problem. And I'm on another call at any time, Chuck, we can get together and even help you with your, mapping out what you need to do to be able to
Mhm.
make sure that next virtual assistant, the process goes super smooth. I know we got 5 more minutes left. Ruben, can you hop into talking about accountability and showing how we utilize Hubstaff? Chuck, what were you using to see, how they were clocking in, clocking out, and things like that?
Well, the company I was using had a system that they were using,
Okay.
not me.
Okay.
Use something called Hubstaff. I already got it pulled up here. With Hubstaff takes screenshots of their monitors of the VAs. So essentially here I've got her day yesterday, Wednesday, pulled up, and I can kind of see, how many hours she worked, activity
Right.
percentage, and I can also see all the screenshots. So throughout the day, every 3 minutes, it takes a screenshot in 10-minute intervals. And so I can see throughout the entire day what she's actually working on. I can zoom in at any point and be like, all right, cool, she's actually doing this. She's talking with me, she's looking at project trackers, etc. So I can fully track what she's doing here. And so we have also on the back end, VA managers who are constantly reviewing all the VA's activity percentages. There's certain benchmarks that the VAs should be at. So if they're below that for their role, then that VA manager is going to contact them, is going to look at their screenshots and say, hey, what's going on? Are you kind of slacking off? Are you
Creates a
not
coaching
working?
opportunity. Creates a coaching opportunity. And
Absolutely.
that's what you build out an entire organization. Out of respect for your time, Chuck, but yeah, I think we were able to cover every single aspect of it that I highly recommend diving in on. Let us know if there's anything you need, but overall, that's pretty much it. These are the different things. And I know we summed it up in a quick 25, 30-minute call, but overall, yeah, man, it's just breaking it down, watching what you're doing, and creating a system for everybody else to be able to learn, what you need to get done.
Sounds good. All right. Well, thank you. I hate to run, but
No,
I
you're
gotta
good.
go run.
Yeah. All right, cool. So overall, Ruben did wrap up on everything that we wanted to go over and show you guys today. Having a virtual assistant is literally a game changer, with commissions being compressed, with higher fees in real estate overall, with splits going higher. If you're going to scale a team, you should really take some time, map out your SOPs, figure out what's going on in your business. What can you hand over to someone else who's going to be a professional and own that job and own that department and help build your team? I hope this was helpful. Once again, my name is Jeffery McGonigle. I was joined today with my partners, Ruben and Diego. The more you know, the more you grow. Power up, RECC.